We were on the road with the Roughriders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Estee. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Estee did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the minibar. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hello, everybody. Happy Football Friday, and welcome to the RP Show. We're coming at you live, as always, on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio down there in Atlanta, and, of course, the streams, podcast, YouTube, and the like. Darren Moose DuPont joins us on what will be, I guess, our final Football Friday, Moose, of 2023. Ooh, how does that make you feel to hear it's our final Football Friday of 2023?
You want to say, man, the year goes by so fast, but we say that every year, so we should expect it by now. But it does feel weird to hear that. That's for sure.
Well, we got our gifts here from the Canadian Football League. It's a Football Friday, and one thing that everybody knows, and I have not counted the episode numbers here, it was about episode number 1150. I'd have to go check my notes. That's right, 1,150. People know that we are king for the best guests in sports talk in Canada, and I think we give anybody in America a run for their money. And that includes, well, I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody's been watching our best ofs this week, I've come up with the top 5 stories for the NHL, top 5 stories for 2023 for the CFL. Coming up in this segment, the NFL, and next hour it'll be other leagues that we cover, just other miscellaneous. But I'll say this, just to hook everybody, Ricky Williams is in our best of interview here in this hour. The Miami Dolphins great, Texas Longhorns legend, hook 'em horns. And when Bill Lindsay, he's gotten to be like my best friend here in South Florida, the Florida Panthers great, and their current radio color guy. We were sitting in the press box one night here in Sunrise, and he goes, who's on your show this week? I said, Ricky Williams. And he looked at me, you got Ricky Williams? Nobody gets Ricky Williams. And I said, well, watch the interview and you'll find out why we got Ricky Williams. But even the football guys were blown away that we got him. And the Dolphins great will be with us later on this hour. But, Darren, are you ready? I blame you for chicken scratching my NFL top. My top 5 stories became the top 10. But that's just the National Football League. There's just so much to talk about, man. I feel like they're not even manufacturing the drama. It just happens. The NFL is so big, which reminds me, let me just start into it, okay? The 10th point is this, and you heard me say it earlier a couple weeks ago. Of the top 100 television programs in the United States, to the top TV shows, including ours, the top 100 in the year, 82 of them were NFL games. Like, that's more than ever. And I feel like by the time we're done here in the next couple of years, it'll be 99 of those shows were NFL games. What are they doing right?
They have a product that, I'm going to be outdated saying this. They have a product that's PVR proof. If anybody knows what a PVR is anymore, they have a product that you have to watch live, right? That's what they have. And I don't know that anybody else has that anymore. Even the news, you don't have to watch live because it's recorded, it's on social, you watch it when you want to watch it. But the NFL and live sports in general, you have to watch live, and they've got the biggest sports product on the planet, at least in North America for sure. So they're starting to dominate. They are what's left in TV, and those statistics, they show that.
I still chalk it up to marketing. Marketing is buzz. And they've made it the must-see thing in all of America. So number 10, 82 of the top 100 shows in America this year were NFL games. Number 9, I'll just slip this in here. It was a great year for you and me and Serena. We were part of the USA Flag Football National Championships, and the news that coming out of that was that flag football will be part of the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. It's backed by NFL flag as part of their global marketing campaign. That's my 9th story. Flag football going to be part of the Olympics. I can't express how happy I am about that, and I feel like you are too.
It's incredible to go down there and get your eyes open to what flag football is on a global stage and how good it is and accessible. And then There was a little buzz that this was something they were pushing for, and then the news came out later in the year. Really exciting, and I think 2028 is going to be exciting because you've got pro players both sides of the border talking about their excitement and their want to be on the U.S. and Canadian flag football teams. So it's going to be a lot of fun leading up to it.
I'm combining points 8 and 7. News stories number 8 and 7 of the NFL season. Number 8 is Frank Reich being fired as head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Number 7 is Josh McDaniel being fired as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Just two bad teams, and you hate to see coaches fired. And do you think those guys were bad coaches, or are they bad organizations?
No, they're not bad coaches, but there's a lot that goes into it. Tough environment, the players, the cycle of, draft busts and whatnot. But in Vegas, it's just been a mess. Al Davis is probably rolling over in his grave because they haven't been able to find any consistency or success really since. And this was another one. Didn't work out with Carr as the quarterback paired with Davante Adams. We thought they would light the NFL on fire. And then eventually Josh McDaniels has shown the door. And I don't know what's next for the Raiders.
Number 6, my guy, Tommy Cutlets, and the New York Football Giants. And this came on my radar because of my good friend Chris from the Bronx down here in South Florida. You've met him. He's my fishing buddy. He's my workout buddy. He's my everything buddy. And he's a huge Giants fan. And to be honest, they were so bad under Daniel Jones and T-Mobile, Tyrod Taylor, he turned his back on them. He wasn't even watching them because we had bets on the Giants game, but they were losing every game, so we stopped betting. And all of a sudden, he's talking about this Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, and what about his agent? Well, he's that undrafted rookie from Livingston, New Jersey, who lives 12 minutes from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, comes in and quarterbacks the Giants to 3 straight wins. It ended with a pretty sound thud, a 24-6 loss at the Saints where he was sacked 7 times. Flash in the pan or a speed bump for Tommy Cutlets? We going to hear from him in 2024? What do you think?
Probably a little bit. I don't think it was by accident that he was able to, pull off a few wins with a not great Giants team. I hope we hear more from him because it's so entertaining, the fact that he's just such a New York guy, and then the agent on the sidelines. A lot of fun to watch what's going on there.
Number 5 story, Aaron Rodgers snaps his Achilles on the 4th play. All offseason, we were sucked into this drama of where Aaron Rodgers was going to go, and then all of a sudden he gets traded, and let's roll that trade into the biggest story, and then he snaps his Achilles on the 4th play. Is he done or not? My sense is that he does come back. I'm actually happy that the Jets were eliminated with 3-4 weeks to go in the playoffs by virtue of their shutout loss at Miami, because then Aaron Rodgers wasn't expected or forced to rush it back. I don't think there's any doubt he comes back.
I'm with you. I think he'll be back. I think he'll be quarterback in the New York Jets next season, and I think they'll be back to being in the conversation for Super Bowl and playoffs. Anytime you have Aaron Rodgers, you got a chance to win all of it. But I would also maybe an honorable mention, because Aaron's big enough to have the point all to himself. What a year for quarterbacks going out, right? I mean, Joe Burrow gets knocked out for the season. Deshaun Watson in Cleveland knocked out for the year. I'm trying to think of who else was knocked out, because there was a few quarterbacks that got knocked out, key ones.
Did you say Justin Herbert? Did you say Justin Herbert?
No, Justin Herbert out for the year. Doesn't finish the season with the Chargers, and that ended up leading to Brandon Staley being fired as their head coach, and the GM goes too. It was a crazy year for quarterbacks not finishing the season. Kirk Cousins didn't finish the season on a good Minnesota Vikings team. So a lot of wild stories there.
Number 4 story, Bryce Young out of Alabama goes number 1 overall in the NFL draft in 2023. C.J. Stroud from OSU goes number 2 to Houston. And I think if they had their druthers, Carolina would walk it back and take Stroud. It was, for the older football people, it was the first time we've had a 1-2 controversy like Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning in the late 90s. Bryce Young going number 1 to Carolina, which incidentally he's done really nothing for the program there. Somebody wrote into our show before Christmas and said, are there any trouble franchises in the NFL? Yes, Carolina, where the owner is a problem. And they've just ruined quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. Like, has anybody seen or heard of Sam Darnold lately. Baker Mayfield couldn't get it done in Carolina, ends up probably going to win the division with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, although it's a bad division. Walking it back, Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud's the number 4 story.
Yeah, and C.J. Stroud, what he's done in Houston and getting the Texans back so quickly, we didn't think this would happen this fast. I still think Bryce Young can end up doing some good things for Carolina. You're going to have to give him 2 or 3 seasons before you give up on a number 1 pick. But you're right. There probably is some second guessing and some regret going on, especially in that fan base where they're having trouble selling tickets, having more trouble winning games. And now it looks like the guy that went number 2 looks like he's the better quarterback.
Has happened before, will happen again. The number 3 story is the actual Super Bowl. Only the National Football League would have their championship game not be the number 1 story, but it's Kansas City knocking off Philadelphia by a score of 38-35. And I have a point for you that kind of popped into my head earlier today. All year long, Kansas City and Philadelphia pretty much in your top 5 power rankings. Wherever you look and you get them. USA Today, Associated Press, NFL.com. It's very rare that somebody outside the top 5 makes a jump and wins the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not like in hockey where an 8 seed wins the Super Bowl or wins the Stanley Cup, right, or gets to the final. You're right. And this year it feels like there's more teams in contention than ever. So I think there's teams that could come out of the wild card and win a Super Bowl because I think it's a lot more parity than we've seen in the past. But yeah, the Super Bowl was great. And it was all about, well, one of the large storylines was about the Kelceys versus the Kelceys. And the 2 brothers playing head-to-head, and one of them was going to win a Super Bowl. And then, Jalen Hurts played an almost perfect Super Bowl. He played really well. Did, more than enough for Philadelphia to win the game. Difference is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they did a little bit more and ended up winning their 2nd Super Bowl.
Number 2 story, and you tipped it off here, and plus, teamwork makes the dream work at the RP show. It's not just a 1-man show, a 2-man show, 3 or 4. But Darren came up with this one. I didn't even have it on my initial list. Taylor Swift dating Jason Kelce. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I am not saying you're wrong. It's not on my radar, but I'm sure for clicks and impressions, as they say, it did lead the NFL in news. Not mine, but probably everybody else's. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Celebrity duos, people just can't get enough of them.
You say that, but it led to one of our best pieces of social media content when you were talking about the former Jets quarterback, right? And all the tale he used to get back in the day. Joe Namath, yes. So it did spawn one of our biggest pieces of social media content of the year. But a wild story. We're starting to see, it's funny, we're watching that relationship evolve. We're watching the booth and we're saying, okay, who's she got in the booth now? And he's met the parents because now the parents are showing up at the games. And all the rest. So, you know what? It's been a fun little diversion. It's been great for social media clicks because it's got the world watching the National Football League. And isn't that just what the NFL does? Just when you think they can't get bigger, they hook in Taylor Swift and get all the Swifties at the height of her reign, by the way, when you talk about timing.
Well, and it's funny that even Bill Belichick would be asked about being a Swiftie. And we're not even going to talk about Bill Belichick. That'll be in the 2024 best of when we talk about him being done with the Patriots because as we sit here today, he's still their coach. And the number 1 story in the NFL is Tom Brady retiring. And that happened on February 1st. I'm a little shocked. You've got the Tom Brady clothing. You've got the Tom Brady book. You actually let it drop on the show. I forgot Tom retired. Not only was it the biggest story of 2023, I think in 100 years they will be talking about that quarterback that won 7 Super Bowls. Tom Brady will go down in history as the most impactful NFL player of all time. It's not even a debate. It's not even a debate that he is. That's got to be the number 1 story.
I'm with you. I agree. It was so early in the year and so much has happened. That's the NFL. That so much happens, let's say, in a week that you forget about what happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. It feels like 3 or 4 years ago. But you're right. Tom, when you look 100 years from now, it will be like a mythical creature or a god, 7 Super Bowls. Nobody will get close to 7 Super Bowls This is unheard of stuff. And, it was disappointing for a Tom fan that never got to see him play live and always, had looked at it. And a lesson in, if you have the chance, go do it, because you don't know when the chance is going to come up again. But, great career, so impactful, and a guy that you started to fall more in love with the older he got and the more he defied the odds and the critics.
Well, I'll tell you something. That's something we could talk about. Maybe we will into the new year. I, by the way, got to see him play in San Diego with the old Qualcomm Stadium. Patriots at the San Diego Chargers, and it was great as part of our sports trip. But now he don't care. He's rubbing it in people's face. I saw a story the other day, maybe you did. It was at Yahoo, where Tara Reid has come out, the sex pot, if that's still a term, movie star, about how she used to date Tom Brady, but he's cocky now. And I just got a kick out of that, because Tom's retired. Nobody can touch him. Nobody can hurt him. He's got his 7 Super Bowls. It's like, be gone. And by the way, if Tom Brady and Tara Reid dated and they didn't stay together, I'm sure he's thinking, whew, bullet dodged there. So she can say whatever she wants about TB12. I'm just so happy for the guy being shown the door in New England, and then what he did in Tampa, and life is good as Tom Brady. Okay, Moose, I'll see you next hour.
You bet.
All right, our best of interviews will start rolling right after this. We've got Trevor Harris and Ricky Williams on deck here in Hour 1. It is a Football Friday here on the RP Show on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Football Friday continues here on the RP Show, everybody, but it's a very special edition. It's our best of edition, and we got our best interviews of the year. They happen to be football related. And coming up next, I'm just going to tee him up. Trevor Harris, quarterback, 6'3", 212, from Waldo, Ohio, and that's where he joined us way back in January or February, I guess, after signing with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Played in the NFL with Jacksonville, the Buffalo Bills, in arena with the Arizona Rattlers, Hartford Colonels, the Orlando Predators, and then, of course, a long and illustrious CFL career dating back to 2012. The Toronto Argonauts, Ottawa Redblacks, Edmonton Eskimos, Montreal Alouettes, and then the Roughriders in 2023, where his inaugural season was cut short because of a knee injury. But long before that happened, Trevor Harris joined us on the RP Show. How you doing, Trevor? Happy New Year, brother.
Hey, good to speak with you again, Rod. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you at, by the way? Are you in Quebec? Are you stateside? Where do you hang your hat in the off season?
I'm in Ohio. I'm Central Ohio, about 15 minutes north of Columbus. Wife and kids, we just moved here about a year and a half ago.
Wow. Well, that's awesome, man. Hey, we are carried on Buckeye Cable out there in Ohio. We do have a lot of viewers. So, hey, how you doing, man? When you, let me say, a year ago we talked, and you ended up re-signing with Montreal and ended up having quite a good year. How's your off season been since? We haven't talked to you since the season wrapped up for you.
It's been great. Just back at home and settling into my off-season program, settling into my routine, and got my daily tasks and all that kind of stuff, and back in full training mode and trying to get this body a little bit younger and younger as the days go on.
Well, are you still using that TB12 method? That's what we talked about a year ago, was it not? I mean, you played like you are. Are you still on Tom's method?
Yeah, and I would say I've kind of curbed it to be my own in a way, the way I eat, my sleeping routine, my sleep habits, the water intake, the tissue work. But I'm very, very meticulous. I'm a little bit, weird about it, obviously, but I think that if you want to extend your career and extend your prime and get people to ignore that number next to your name where it says age, you have to be willing to do stuff that other people aren't. And, you got to be diligent and, a lot of discipline with it. And that's just something that I'm willing to do and I'm excited about because I love the fact that people talk about your age as you age. And it's just another thing that you get to prove people wrong and work to prove them wrong on. And so I'm excited about the challenge of, having people ignore that number next to my age line for quite a few years.
Well, you may or may not know, we got a lot of ballers watch this show on both sides of the border, football people, coaches, players, kids, and they love the training talk. So if they're not familiar with the Tom Brady method, and now it's become a bit of the Trevor Harris method, as he's just said, how would you describe that? You would obviously endorse it to other players.
Yeah, I would describe it as mostly trying to lengthen and soften muscle tissue, which a lot of people don't know that the specifics of how Brady does it. I've actually had the honor and privilege of going to train with his trainers a couple times for a couple weeks, and it's truly different the way they kind of manipulate tissue and they get your tissue to be trained. Like your training itself, there's a connection between the brain and body to brain, and you can get that tissue to lengthen and soften. And when you soften that muscle tissue, obviously the muscles aren't brittle, and then when you get that, you're not getting the stress on the joints, because that's essentially how you lose mobility in quote unquote age, is you get that stress on the joint, makes the muscles tense, and it's kind of, chicken or the egg, which one causes which. But if you can keep those muscles soft and lengthened, you're going to give yourself the best chance to age. And I think the proof's in the pudding with old 12 in Tampa. He's 45, almost 46. And when you watch him play, it's not like he gets up slower or, he does anything crazy. I mean, he looks like Tom Brady still.
Yeah, but I tell you what, when you watch the games, and I watch them all, now that you know how he trains intricately, you must just chuckle when the announcers say, how is he at 45 doing these things? Because they all say it. But you know, right?
Yeah, I would say I know a little bit. I don't think they divulge, or he divulges everything that he does. And I think he's got access to stuff that Giselle had when they were together, with, his teeth getting better and his skin looking younger. And so that definitely equates to it as well, or attributes to it as well. But definitely with the tissue side and the keeping himself in his prime, he's definitely got something figured out. And I think there's a lot of guys that are now kind of curious as to see how they can extend their career. And I've always just been a person I think curiosity is one of the things that's made me great in terms of being able to play a longer time than the average person. And I just have always been curious and never been scared to put my ego aside and say, what is this guy doing? I want to try, some of the stuff that they're doing and see if it fits you. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does.
Now, awesome conversation. And by the way, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that you've moved just north of Columbus, is an original product of Waldo, Ohio. But I want to tell our viewers, since we last talked, we're on the radio in the state of Georgia, and I mentioned 31 U.S. states. And Trevor, this is like a Hall of Fame resume. Two-time Grey Cup champion, led the CFL in passing touchdowns 2015, holds 3 records. Yeah, good time for you to take a drink. It's taking me a while here. 2012-15 with the Argos, 2016-18 Ottawa, 2019-21 Edmonton. But I see Jacksonville Jaguars way back in 2010. And I won't ask you what was going on with Jacksonville then, but what I will ask you is your thoughts on Nathan Rourke signing with the Jags here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, truly incredible. And I'll tell you what, it couldn't happen to a better kid and a better guy. He's an insanely hard worker. And I actually was out in Vancouver training with him last week. I went out, and it was one of those curiosity things. I saw the quarterback guy he's been working with. I've seen him for a few years now on my Instagram reel of videos that you see. And I finally just messaged him and just said, hey, I'd love to, chat and work with you a little bit. And so I flew out there and trained with him for a few days, and been in constant communication with him. I want to see what I can do to add some arm strength, some zip on the passes, be able to get the ball downfield a little bit more. And if you can find that, I think that adds a distinct advantage. And when you watch Nathan Rourke, leave Ohio University as a 58% completion percentage guy, and then, come into this league and absolutely set this league on fire, complete 78%, and being a Canadian kid, and then he's got 12 NFL workouts. I mean, it couldn't happen to a more awesome guy. And I'll tell you what, I'm really, really rooting for him. And I think a lot of people need to realize, I think in life, there's enough success out there that we can root for everybody else, and we can still have our own success as well. And he's just an easy kid to root for in general. When you get to know him, the kind of guy he is, how hard of a worker he is, how much he loves football. And I mean, shoot, the kid had a surefire opportunity to go play in the NFL, had a Liz Frank injury, has a screw in his foot, and he comes back to finish the season. If that doesn't tell you what he's about and what his character is, I can't help you.
Yeah. Cheering for other people's success does not damper yours, and obviously I think that would explain some of your longevity. That's the way you're supposed to look at it. But I got to give me this from a player's perspective, because all the scouts and coaches are saying to me, oh, yeah, we knew it. Like 2 starts in this last year, they're like, we knew Nathan Rourke's got NFL all over him. And I said, why didn't you say that at Ohio then? And they said, well, he just had to go up and prove it. What did he have to prove? Do you see why didn't they say that? Why wasn't he drafted as a quarterback? That's what I'm saying. Can you answer that for me?
Everybody had a shot to draft him in the first round. I bet you if you did a redraft from that year, I bet you he'd be the first pick in the draft. Now, was the potential there? Maybe they saw the potential. I don't know. But I can tell you this, that he's worked really hard. When he left college, he wasn't known as an accurate, a strong-arm guy, but he was more known as a guy with a lot of mobility that could run, that, had the ability to pass. But now you watch him, and NFL teams see him as a passing quarterback that can run. And so what's he done over the last couple of years? And he's fine-tuned his craft. He's, pounded the stone every single day. And you can tell the gains are huge, especially at his age. When you're working like that, you can make those big jumps, and he's made that big jump.
Yeah, well, as a guy whose dad worked as a scout, me, 26 years in the NHL, my dad did, I get a kick out of the scouts that are saying, oh, yeah, I knew all along. Oh, where were you 2 years ago then? You know, that's all. I get a kick out of that. Trevor, thank you. I appreciate the time. Good luck heading into free agency. I know that you'll make the right decision. Good luck with it, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Look forward to it, Ron.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Football Friday continues, everybody, on the RP Show on Game Plus TV and WQEE Radio. And listen up down there in Atlanta, you big NFL fans and college football fans. Biggest interview of the year was right here. Ricky Williams joining us. Number 3 all-time NCAA rushing yards. Pro Bowler in the NFL with the Miami Dolphins, led the NFL in rushing in 2002, won the Heisman with the Texas Longhorns, AP College Football Player of the Year, the SN Player of the Year, 2-time unanimous All-American. It goes on and on and on. Ricky Williams, Dolphins great, Longhorns great, joined us back this fall. We can put him on the screen now if you don't mind. Ricky Williams, I've been wanting to interview him for a very long time. The football resume is what it is. Pro Bowl running back, NFL rushing leader, number 34, retired at Texas. Bear with me, Ricky. I won't go through it all. But New Orleans Saints, Miami Dolphins, Toronto Argonauts, Dolphins again, Baltimore Ravens. And if you'll allow me, from your PR firm, the reason Ricky's here today, Gold Leaf, a Cannabis 2.0 brand focused on a unique positioning within the ever-growing cannabis market, along with premium cannabis brand Ideal, announced a partnership with Heisman, the purpose-driven cannabis lifestyle brand founded by NFL legend and former Dolphins running back Ricky Williams. The partnership the playbook will kick off with Rick's Picks and will be available for delivery via Gold Leaf in 16 counties throughout Florida, and a Gold Leaf's retail flagship in Sebring beginning next Friday, where Ricky himself will be making an appearance. But lucky us, we got him today, live on the RP Show. Ricky, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, we got a lot to get to and not a lot of time here. I appreciate the time. The first question I will have for you is, how are things? They seem fine, but how are they in your life?
They're wonderful. I'm an entrepreneur now. You just did a great job announcement about Heisman, one of my businesses, entering the wonderful state of Florida. I also have an app on the App Store, so if anyone is interested in the way I look at things and the way I think about things, check out Leela. So I'm a businessman now, and so I'm constantly working on how to add value. I think in the startup game, a lot of people are really focused on how do I trick people into buying my products. But, for me, and it's what I learned as a football player, because on the football field, if you're not productive consistently, you lose your job. And so it's really, for me, all about providing value.
Well, listen, when I say I've been trying to interview for a long time, if you notice your Facebook, we are Facebook friends. And although I spent 20 seasons in the CFL as a play-by-play announcer, which we'll get to, I'm almost 9 years sober, mental health and addiction recovery coach. And people would think, why would you have Ricky on with what he's promoting? And I'm like, listen, I'm not anti-alcohol or drugs. And as a matter of fact, when you were going through your stuff, looking back, I kind of think you're ahead of your time. I'm sure you felt that way all along. Or how do you feel about it now?
Usually when you're young and you're ahead of your time, you just feel misunderstood. And so, of course, I had to go through that phase of feeling misunderstood. But I will say, I heard you earlier talking about my time in Canada, and the timing of me getting a chance to play for the Argos was just perfect. I remember the first several press conferences I did when I got up to Toronto is I heard almost the exact same phrase multiple times. And whether it was a coach or a reporter, they would say, "It's just pot. What's the big deal?" And I was like, I really love Canada. And so it was a great place for me to come, and I had a chance to be myself, and it was a great experience.
By the way, Allie writes in from Texas. She's a huge fan of yours. She was writing in yesterday, excited that you were going to be on. She's like, hey, Ricky, big fan, one of the best Longhorns to ever play the game. Hook 'em forever. So that's from Allie. She wanted to pass that along. Can we jump on the Argo thing for a second, Ricky? Did I have that right?
Please.
On the Ken Austin, Adam Rita thing? That there was a
You were close.
What happened?
Adam was in the front office. Pinball was the head coach. But it was one of those things where David Cinnamon, one of the owners of the Argos at the time, it was his idea to bring me on. I don't even think he consulted with the coaching staff. And so he brought me into a team that ran 5 wide receivers, passing team, who already had all-star tailback in John Avery. So it was kind of one of those situations where they were trying to force it to work. And with Ken Austin, it wasn't going to work. And so Ken left. Adam came over and took over the play calling abilities, and he turned it into a 2-back system. So I actually, the last part of the season, I was the fullback and I played a little bit of tight end. It was fun. But the main issue in Canada was that I broke my arm and I had an Achilles injury. So I missed more than half of the season due to injury.
Well, this probably won't surprise you, but I broadcast your last CFL game in Regina, and my current financial planner it was the linebacker that tackled you when you broke your arm, Mike McCullough. It's his claim to fame. I was there, and I remember the ambulance pulling up, and I'm like, oh, no, this is bad. So I was there, Ricky. Funny how, and that's my thing, how everything's related, and I'm very, very, very grateful to have you on the air today to promote your business more than anything, but to just tell you that I support you and what you're doing, and I get it. Man, I've been misunderstood forever. I told you, almost 9 years sober. I get it. And it took a long time. And that's why I wondered how you are in terms of having peace in your life, because you kind of always seem to have it.
Well, I was always working towards it, and I think that's what's important, especially when you're young, is what you're working towards. And I know you can speak to this as we get a little bit older. We start to get payment. We start to get paid for the hard work and dedication and misunderstanding that we put in earlier. And so I am in a place in life where whatever happens, I'm peaceful because I've been through it all before. And I know confidently that it's all going to be.
Yeah, it's like what's gonna break me now? It's a wonderful place. So I'm glad that you're there, Ricky. And I remember didn't you go to like Africa and you wanted to start being a photographer or something? Are you still doing that?
I went to Australia with my camera. I've been to Egypt and I want to get to sub-Saharan Africa. It's definitely on my travel list. But I got into photography. I'm one of those people. I'm constantly looking for something that's gonna catch my attention and be worthy of my energy and my passion. And so, I went through an experimental phase where I was trying everything and traveling. I love to travel. I just felt like we only have 80, 90 years if we're lucky. So I'm really trying to get the most out of this experience.
Well, they say, I don't know if you mentioned or you would know that you're the third all-time rusher in NCAA history, that a ball carrier gets hit on average 5 times per carry on a play. So I know a lot of running backs that aren't doing too good at your age. How are you doing in that regard?
To be honest, I could give the easy answer and say I'm great, but the reality is I'm great because I take care of myself. And if I took a week off, I don't eat perfectly, but if I ate like crap for a whole week and didn't do any exercise, I would be like those other running backs. Literally, it's that drastic. And so it's motivation to keep taking care of myself. And when I was young, people, older people would say, use it or lose it. And I was like, whatever. But now as I'm getting a little bit older, I realize you got to use your mind and you got to use your body or it will start to go.
Don't we all? John O'Flynn, watching in Vancouver, says, did Ricky have any connections with the BC Lions at any time? Did you play BC in your time in the CFL? And if so, do you remember?
We played BC once. And you mentioned I had 2 touchdowns that year. One of them was against the BC Lions.
Okay, I didn't mention it. One of the viewers did. They remember this stuff, man. They remember it well. And somebody wrote in here earlier, had an Argos connection, and they said, hey, what we remember about Ricky was he's a great guy, very thoughtful, nice to everybody. And that's the thing that annoyed me when you were going through what you were going through. Duron Carter's a really close friend of mine, and it just ticks me off when I see teams or leagues in the media malign somebody unfairly when I know they're a good person. You passed all that?
Yeah. I had a really good coach one time say, you're never as good as they say, and you're never as bad as they say. And so anytime I got myself in a pickle where I was feeling bad about myself, I just remember that quote, and it alleviated 80% of the anxiety. So it's true, and I think to me, the idea of being famous or being a role model is that if you're too worried about what other people say, you're not going to be a very good role model. If you're worried about what image or what message you want to put out into the world and you keep working on that, you'll be just fine.
Well, the thing is, we talk about being unfairly maligned. I bet you've had a ton of people had your back through it all. People you know, and a lot of people you don't know. And that's got to feel good.
Yeah. I think before I got in trouble being a famous football player, I never knew what people were into or why they were coming up to me or they really appreciate me. But after I got in trouble, it became clear, I remember it was right after me failing a drug test became public, and I was staying at a friend's house in Southern California. And one of his neighbors had a 14-year-old daughter. And we were out, and the guy came over and he's like, I really would like you to meet my daughter. I think she could learn a lot from you. And I was like looking at him and I said, have you read the news? And he's like, yeah, that's actually why. And I was like, whoa. Because, from living in the football world, I only thought, this is bad. I'm going to get in trouble, bad, bad, bad. But to see outside of football, the real world, that people could understand and appreciate what I was going through. So it was powerful.
That's a great story. Well, and just before we talk about Heisman, I was in I'm just going to pass this along. I was in a clothing store in Scottsdale Quarter wearing a CFL jacket. I think it might have been a Roughriders jacket, had a CFL logo. And the girl goes, are you behind the counter? She's like, do you have something to do with the CFL? I said, yeah, I work in it. She goes, oh, I used to date Ricky Williams. And I thought, that's probably a large group. But she's like, if you ever see Ricky, and I think I had her card, but I don't have it anymore. So maybe somebody in Scottsdale misses you, Ricky. So beyond that, you're making a tour around Florida. What? Tell me about Heisman and what you got moving here.
Yeah, so, the deal with Heisman is everyone knew I got in trouble for cannabis when I was playing. And then when I left, I started thinking, is this just part of my story that I got in trouble for, or is there a deeper story? And if I'm being honest, cannabis actually helped me get through the NFL. It's a very painful and stressful job. And I think all football players need to find a way to alleviate and ameliorate that stress. And we all have different techniques. For me, yoga, meditation, and cannabis is what worked for me. And so I thought instead of just going off into the sunset, that I would tell my story, because my guess is there's a lot of other people out there that have found cannabis to be helpful for them, and a lot of people around them don't understand. And so I thought, I could be a role model and an inspiration for those people. And apparently there's a whole lot of those people. And so I've taken it on as a mission, to get the word out that, if you have the right kind of mindset, Heisman and cannabis can really offer you some relief and better quality of life. And so because of the regulations in our country, each of the different states have different cannabis laws. And so as a business, we have to find partners in each market in each state. And our latest expansion is into the wonderful state of Florida. And we found the best partner in Florida. And I'm not just saying that. I'm saying it because I went around and because everyone wants to work with Heisman. So I went around to every cultivation, every grow, and talked to the people, and just to get a sense of what they're all about. And Ideal and Gold Leaf are by far the best in Florida. So I'm excited to come back to Florida and bring in the bag with me. So it should be fun.
How long has this process, if you don't mind me asking, to get to where we are today, to announce it and launch it, how far back has this gone? Stuff doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, so we launched the brand in California and Oregon back in November of 21. And so we've been at it for almost 2 years, and we keep growing and growing. But from day one, I had my eye on Florida. It was just waiting for the right partners.
Outstanding. Well, your guy, Kevin, from the PR firm, tells me that you are in South Florida regularly, and that's where I'm at, Boca. So when you're ever down here, let's do this. I'd love to do it in person. But just you mentioned yoga, meditation, and cannabis. I got a friend, I'm not going to say any more than that, other than a pro baller who's been through some struggles, but he's good now. And I said to him, not that long ago, floating in his pool, I said, what's getting you by? And he goes, sunshine and ganja. And I said,
yeah,
if that works for you, I said, if that works for you and you're happy, you're not hurting anybody. Good for you. I'm as they say, a whatever works guy. I'm a whatever works guy. So whatever gets you through. Yeah. What else would you like people? What else would you like people to know, Ricky, before we let you go?
Well, I already mentioned it. I said yoga, meditation, and one of the things that has really helped me understand myself and love myself has been understanding myself from an astrological perspective. And not just I'm a Gemini, but the science of astrology has been around for thousands of years, and people that have spent time studying it, like myself, have really found a way to make it useful for people. And so my app, Lila, Lila on the Apple Store, the App Store in Apple it's cool. So I'd say if people are interested and think that the kind of stuff I talk about is fascinating, then should definitely check it out.
Lila? Spell that again?
Mm-hmm.
Lila.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get it now. Well, Ricky, when I say this, you now know that I mean it. If you ever feel misunderstood, I get you. So I appreciate this time. It's better than I thought it would be, this interview. So thanks, and we'll see you when you come through Boca or the area.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, everybody, it's the final segment of Hour 1. We're dispensing with the sports updates. And just recapping this Hour 1, a big thank you to Trevor Harris and Ricky Williams for their interviews this year and for being part of our Best Of episode. And, of course, a big thank you to the IKS crew, specifically producer Clark and Tuna, for putting this together.
How about
Tuna
that?
Turner. What was that song by Tuna Turner? Simply the Best? Something like that? Our top 5 NFL stories we did in Hour 1. Here are your top 5 again. Aaron Rodgers being traded from Green Bay to the New York Jets and then snaps his Achilles 4 plays into his first game as a Jet. It's not funny. The fourth number 4 story in the NFL, Bryce Young going number 1 in the draft. Big because for the first time since Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning, we had a 1-2 controversy between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, and it looks like C.J.'s winning that. The number 3 story was the Super Bowl itself, Super Bowl 57. Kansas City beating Philadelphia 38-35 in Glendale, Arizona. This year's will be in Las Vegas, February the 11th. The number 2 story in the NFL this year, again, I defer to Darren because I can tell you we spent less than 2 minutes on this, and that was Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce phenomena. Now, having said all that, I understand that's a me problem, not an everybody else problem. Darren loves this story. It got a lot of people involved and following the NFL, which wouldn't normally have all around the world, and certainly in America, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and their whirlwind romance. The number 2 story in the NFL this season. And number 1, it's Tom Edward Brady retiring on February the 1st after an illustrious career in the National Football League and an NFL record 7 Super Bowl titles, 6 with the Patriots, 1 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was this year that I went and watched the movie 80 for Brady, which was playing at Landmark Cinemas, our proud partners, and it was fantastic. I just love me some Tom Brady. He was the number 1 story of the NFL this year. We are saving the best for last. I'm going to tell you, when we come back in hour 2, the Moose will rejoin, and our best interviews of the year are coming up with Cody Fajardo the week after winning the Grey Cup. The pride of Brea, California, being named the MVP of the Grey Cup and winning it all. Cody will join us to talk about that. And Dan Giancola, Grey Cup champion, Buffalo Bills, Toronto Argonauts veteran kicker with an unreal life story. That's coming up in hour 2 after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, Let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
And we were on the road with the Roughriders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Este. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Este did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the minibar. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome inside, everybody. Our final hour of 2023 here on the RP Show on a Football Friday. As you can see, broadcasting from South Florida in this studio. Moose joining us from the Toronto studio. And it's always a lot of fun doing these best of shows. And we've covered a lot of ground this week, Moose. And we will a little later on. At the end of this hour, we'll recap our top 5 news stories of the year in all of the NHL, the CFL, the NFL, and our interviews. Our best of interviews were some real awesome ones, man. We had a great year. Ted Nolan promoting his book, Life in Two Worlds. Ryan Huska, the coach of the Flames. Kelly Rudy coming down to Century Downs in Calgary. Trevor Harris, Ricky Williams, and coming up this hour, Cody Fajardo and Dan Giancola. I guess before we jump into our top 5 miscellaneous / other stories of the sports world, it was a pretty good year for the RP Show. What do you think?
That was a great year for the RP Show, from being down and around at Grey Cup, the All-Star game in Florida. Remember that happened, the All-Star weekend in South Florida. We were around a lot of great events. It was a lot of fun. And you know what? Been a lot of changes for you and me. So a lot to be grateful for in 2023.
Yes, for sure. And now that I think about that, you're right. We did our 1,000th show episode from right here at the Beach House. You came down for that. That was a ton of fun. And as you said, we did the NHL All-Star Game festivities from the Beach House again. Rich Sutter joining us, and I can't remember who else. It was awesome. But again, we'll do this a little later on this hour, recap our top NHL, CFL, and NFL show stories. We focus on that primarily here on the RP Show because that is our wheelhouse. It is Canada, after all, hockey and football. But 2 sports that are making significant gains in Canada are basketball and baseball, there's no doubt. So my top 5 story, and this isn't even in any particular order. This is just 5 stories, okay? On April 21st, Nick Nurse was fired as head coach of the Raptors. And I swear, I am that guy that I only got caught up in the Raptors winning the NBA title because they were on this dramatic run. You know, like I wasn't, you know, they were packing Mosaic Stadium. They were calling it Jurassic Park, blah, blah, blah. Nick Nurse led them to that championship. Then all of a sudden, boom, they have a bad year and he's fired? Nick Nurse, April 21st. I will preface this by saying I ran into a basketball NBA guy in the summer. It was actually in Calgary, of all things, and he said, listen, Nick Nurse had to go. You don't know the inside story. Just basically, according to this guy, he got thinking he was bigger than the team. It happens. But Nick Nurse being fired as coach of the Raptors wasn't a great moment in Raptors history.
No, it wasn't. But, you know, they move on, they turn the page, and, you know, that championship feels like it's so far in the rearview mirror. Kawhi Leonard left town right away. Now Nick Nurse gone. But, you know, the Raptors do have an exciting young core. Scotty Barnes kind of leading the way. So they are fun to watch. But, yeah, that was a big story. A big defining era was the Nick Nurse era in Toronto.
Yeah, and the last I saw, I'm not sure that's the case today. The last I've checked in my Score app, Nick Nurse is now coaching the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's got them at least in a playoff spot, I think, in third, and the Raptors are really sucking. So, again, I don't know. I'd love to sit down with the Messiah Ujiri and get the inside story. I'm pretty sure that's never going to happen. Fourth story, if I may, in a pretty big story. It's not going to go as number one, but had Shohei Ohtani signed with the Toronto Blue Jays, that would have been the biggest other story of 2023. And it went, into December. And I'm not even familiar with Major League Baseball free agency or when it is, but it comes out of their winter meetings. He went on his tour. And to be honest, what do they say in the spiritual world? Thank God for closed doors, or thank God for no's because they're redirections. Ohtani ends up signing with the Dodgers 7 years, $700 million, or 10 years, $700 million. Deferred money and all that, it doesn't matter. Shohei Ohtani did he toy with the hearts of the Toronto fans, or did the media let them down? He ended up signing with the Dodgers after people really believed that he was coming to the Blue Jays.
Well, a big part of it was, this word that came out of the Shohei camp that teams or people around weren't supposed to talk about meetings and divulge any information. And I thought, man, the Jays really must not have known that they weren't going to get him either, because as soon as you know you're not going to get him, why would you hold on to the secrets anymore? I would come out and just say, we're not getting him. But that day in December, when the plane was being tracked from Anaheim to Toronto, and it ended up being Robert Herjavec of the Dragon's Den and the Shark Tank, his plane, the private flight, and people rushing to the airport, and fake videos being dropped, and fake reservations being leaked, and all the rest. And Shohei thought it was fun as he was sitting at home in L.A. He's almost become public enemy number one in Toronto, maybe in Canada as a result. But it was sure something to see and follow. And at the end, it turned into a whole lot of nothing for Jays fans.
Time flies. Can we say that you basically moved to Toronto, what are we saying, June 1st? So it's like
July.
6-7 months there. July? Okay. Which I still think equates to like 6 months as we sit here today. Rate, from your perspective, the fandom by teams in the market, and be honest. Because I've never lived there. I don't know. You tell me what it is.
Oh, boy. The Leafs are number one by far. Raptors would be, go Leafs, Jays, Raptors, and then you would go into Toronto FC Argos, probably. That would probably be the top five. Yeah.
I tell you, that's the one thing, as I said here, we haven't even had hardly any of Rod's story time here, but Darren and I did have similar upbringings in the broadcast industry, and that is working small market Saskatchewan radio. And did you Blue Jays games, produce Blue Jays game? As did I.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And it was, for me, 92. Believe it or not, the Blue Jays were charging to their first World Series, and we used to get this feed in the back of the radio station. You know the phrase, patch it in? We had these actual cords that passed into these holes. They're like RCA cords almost, and the feeds were coming in via satellite, and we had Joe Bowen calling Leafs preseason Leafs preseason hockey, and we had Tom Cheek calling Blue Jays regular season baseball, and I had to change the channel that it was coming on. And I'm like, well, why are the Blue Jays not taking priority? They're in a pennant run right now. This is September of 92. And why are the Leafs on the number one channel? And they're like, you don't understand. A Leafs exhibition game will supersede a Blue Jays regular season game, even chasing the pennant. I was like, what? But here's me, this 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old farm kid. What the hell would I? Now you get it. Now I get it. Anyways, jumping back on, our number 3 story of the year here is the World Series. Texas beats Arizona in 5 games. And Bruce Bochy with the World Series championship for the Rangers after 3 with the Giants. And again, listen, I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but I obviously follow it. And I was listening on the radio here in South Florida. They were saying, this is not a good matchup. Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. Nobody's going to watch. Nobody cares. And I've never really been that guy other than to say, well, I didn't watch. He wasn't exactly selling it for me, although he did say the Rangers had never won a World Series, so that perked my interest going into the series, but I didn't really watch it. And the argument on the co-host on the radio that day was that, well, it can't always be the Yankees and the Cubs and the Dodgers and the Braves. Like, it's got to be other teams, or else why play? But what are your thoughts on that World Series matchup, which incidentally Texas won in 5 games?
Yeah, and, obviously not the marquee matchup everybody wants in Major League Baseball, but it was still a good one. And Arizona has been a while. That was a good story. But Texas at the end, I mean, we all watched it, or at least I watched it. Always try and watch the championships being handed out. So I was following at the end of that playoff series and at the end of the World Series to watch that moment. It was a cool one, and, congratulations to the fans in Texas.
Well, they say, what should I say? Certified mental health and addiction recovery coach here. Recovery coach is the title. I know that your thoughts, your behavior, your outlook, perspectives all formed from what you were as a child, your upbringing, what was going on in your home, what your parents were interested in, what your siblings were interested in. All that stuff is bred from when you're a little kid. And for me, although we don't talk about it as much as I would like, you know this very well. I could go on the air every single day and do a junior hockey show for 2 hours and be tickled as a pig in slop. The problem is how many people would watch it. And my point is here, they're not the top 2 stories of the year in sports, but they are 2 stories. And the Centennial Cup was played in Portage, and the Brooks Bandits won the national championship, beating the Battleford's North Stars 4-2. And I'm very close to that Battleford staff, and I think about watching that final, and again, where the heck was I? Again, I would think I was in Calgary watching it. Doesn't matter, but I think it was like 4-0 after the second period, and you just knew the Stars weren't coming back, and they weren't going to beat Brooks, And somebody wrote in here the other day, I still have it on the text line, would you rather miss the playoffs altogether or lose in the national championship game? And I'm like, there's different ways to answer that, but if you want to talk pure heartache, I'd rather miss the playoffs altogether, because there is nothing worse than losing in the national championship. I've had that happen multiple times, but Brooks won the championship. And I love these year-end shows. As much as it was a painful day, I was like, oh, yeah. Did you watch it?
Of course, and you do. You look back and say, wow, they got all the way to the national championship. Pretty impressive for the Battlefords North Stars and Braden Klamosko, and they're near the top of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League again this year. So he's done great work there, highly respected, well done. But that program in Brooks is so dominant that, you're not surprised to see them win another national title and hang another banner. But good effort and definitely a good season.
Well, and then we wind it up, this segment anyways, because we have our best of interviews upcoming on this Football Friday from Cody Fajardo and Dan Giancola, but the Memorial Cup. And, yeah, I remembered it was in Kamloops, but I'll be honest, I had to go back and think about who won it and who played in the final. And it was Patrick Roy and his Quebec Rampart beating the Seattle Thunderbirds by a score of 5-0. And if I remember it right, on the Wednesday night, Kamloops, the host team, had a chance to squash Quebec, but they blew a 2-0 lead and ended up losing, I think, 5-2, something along those lines. But you brought something up here on the show last week. Again, Quebec won the Memmer in Kamloops. But the games aren't on television anymore, and I kind of sit here and wonder, does anybody care but us? Because I don't know if the attendance is floundering or not. I know when Connor Bedard was filling the rinks last year in the Western Hockey League, setting attendance records, that it didn't matter that the newspaper industry's in the toilet or that the games aren't on television. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
The junior hockey's suffering from a lack of coverage from the way I used to watch it and follow it. But maybe it's all social media nowadays. Maybe it's all ball bearings nowadays. I don't know. Your thoughts on all of that? Yeah,
I know, and the Memorial Cup was great. it seems like it was a while ago. And I mean, it was in the first part of the year in the spring. But yeah, junior hockey is still junior hockey that we love and know and love. You're right. It's not covered the same way. The games aren't on national television like they used to be. I know TSN's put up a handful of games on TSN Plus if you subscribe to that. We'll see what they come out with in the new year leading into the Memorial Cup, which we know the Member will likely be on TV. But it is fun to follow. And as usual, it's been a while, though, for the West. What is it now? 4 in a row for the Quebec Major Junior League, all the way back to 2018. That Quebec's won the Member. Been a while for the Western League, but 2014, Edmonton was the last one. But a lot of Western League teams near the top of the CHL rankings as we go into the break.
Yeah, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon in the top 10. And that's the thing, and we'll get to our best of interviews when we come back, but it took me a couple of years broadcasting the RP show, half a year from down here. I've got my Florida friends saying, I love your show, you're very entertaining, but when you get talking about the CFL or you get talking about junior hockey, you lose me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. And I had to finally just put my foot down and say, that's who I am. That's in my DNA. So if you don't like it, don't watch, which is why we ended up starting the Panthers podcast, Panthers Lightning podcast, and that's going great, and everybody's happy. Okay, Moose, I'll see you back for the final wrap-up of the year a little later on. Thanks for this.
You bet. Thank you.
Our final best of 2023 interviews begin after this break. On deck, Cody Fajardo, the MVP of the 2023 Grey Cup. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Welcome back, everybody. The Best of 2023 Football Friday episode continues as we go headlong back into the football discussion. And our good friend Cody Fajardo, which ironically we never ever did work together on the Roughriders. We missed each other, but yeah, certain people just click, and Cody and I are two of those guys. He is the MVP of the Grey Cup. And with the Montreal Alouettes, they upset Winnipeg 28-24 in the CFL Championship in Hamilton. And a week after the game, Cody joined us to talk about it. But it's not an overreaction that Cody Fajardo is the MVP of the Grey Cup, and he's a winner all the way, as John Frenzy likes to say. Cody joins us today, just over a week after winning the whole big prize. Cody, how you doing, man? Congratulations, way to go, and what's life like being you these days?
I can't complain. It's been a wild week and a half to say, and the little guy is still trying to catch up on some sleep. We kind of put him through the ringer there, but be back here and home and getting back into our routine. Every time I hear Grey Cup, champ, Grey Cup MVP, it always brings a smile to my face. All the blood, the sweat, the tears, the hard work, it's all worth it now.
Your voice is gone, as was Sean Lemon's when he was on last week. What the hell did you guys do over the last week? You killed yourselves.
What didn't we do over the last week? Yeah, for me, the entire playoffs, my voice was gone. Just louder crowds. You just got to scream louder. A couple impromptu speeches I'm sure everybody's aware of where you lose your voice a little bit. But I think the lack of sleep, over the course of Sunday going into Monday, I slept 40 minutes. But I soaked up every minute of that Grey Cup celebration and winning it. It's not every year you get the opportunity just to be in the Grey Cup, but to win it. I've been in the league going on 9 years next year and won 2 Grey Cups. And you think it comes every year in a 9-team league, and it doesn't. You got to work your tail off to get there. And so when you do win and you hoist it over your head, especially when nobody expected you to, you celebrate a little bit harder.
Okay, man, now we're getting into it. I'll be honest with you, and I'm honest with you just like you're honest with me. You made it look easy. You didn't act no crack at all going into this Grey Cup, but it's a Grey Cup. It was your first ever start in one. How was your sleep the night before? And the rousing speech you gave, what was that all like?
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't as crazy as I thought. The week leading up to it, obviously, with all the anticipation, all the hype, all the media attention, that was a bit overwhelming in terms of just scheduling, and you get out of your routine where it's just not show up to work, watch your film, go home. There was a lot of things that you had to do outside of just football, but that was all part of the show, and the CFL puts on such a great show, especially the Grey Cup week. But in terms of the game, at the end of the day, a couple people I reached out to, they just said, it's football, you've been doing this your whole life, and people I respect really highly that just told me go out there, enjoy the moment. And so I try to not put too much pressure on myself and the team. And leading up into the week, everybody wanted to talk about our defense and special teams, rightfully so after the Eastern final, the way that they performed. So there was no pressure on me. There's no pressure on the offense. But we knew, and Coach Moss actually shared with our offense, he said, I just have a crazy feeling that our offense is going to have a great showing out there. I felt really good about the game plan. I thought we were methodical in the way that the coaches brought in the game plan. There was calculated shots. There was quick game. There was stuff to get the ball out of my hand quickly. And then obviously establishing a run game. All the woes and all the negative games against Winnipeg, you trade them all in to be able to beat them in the Grey Cup. It was all worth it in the end.
Robert from Las Vegas writes in, he says, as a devastated Bomber fan, I'm happy for you, Cody. Allie in Texarkana, Texas, she says, death, taxes, and Cody Fajardo winning. I love when Rod says that. Nelson says, where did that F you just watch speech come from, Cody? Was that boiled over frustration? How do you know as a leader when to deliver a speech like that?
I'm not the biggest vocal guy, and especially when you sign to a new team, my biggest goal this year was just to go out there and play and have the guys on the team just watch how I go to work every day, my consistency, my discipline, and earn the respect that way. I didn't want to come in and talk. Obviously, I would talk to the offense and the receivers, but Coach Moss on day 3, he said, if anybody wants to have the floor, day 4, we're going to open it up. And so I was thinking the night before, like, should I talk? Should I not talk? And I was thinking, well, if I want to get everyone's attention, I'm going to have to do a couple things that I normally don't do. One, it's yell and scream. And 2, use some profanity. And the guys loved it, and the guys were fired up. The amount of tears and chills and people saying that they're ready to play that day, it was all worth it in the end. But super exciting. What's been crazy over the last couple of days is the amount of Rider fans that have reached out and just continue to support me, even though I'm not in the green and white. That meant a lot to me and my wife and my family. The Argo fans that have reached out, the BC Lions fans that have reached out, and even the Winnipeg fans, probably the fan base that's been the hardest on me over the last 4 years. There was a handful of them that reached out and were just extremely excited to see me hoisting the trophy over my head. And so it just goes to show that I was doing something right and being able to connect and make and build relationships and inspire people. And those are the things that I enjoyed the most, was hearing from people that I just totally didn't expect to hear from.
I'm getting goosebumps as you say that. I'm not joking, man. Shane, one of our sponsors from Deer Valley, says, congrats, Cody. Always a fan. So big win on the MVP award. Deer Valley Golf and Estates, that is. I'll be honest. You've had to eat a lot of crap and bite your lip in the last year. And I want to just give you the opportunity to say whatever you want to say, because I felt like I was eating it right there with you. And I got in some fights on your behalf, and I thought, Cody's a big boy. He can handle it. But how does it feel? It's hard, man. It's not easy. It's not easy for you. How did you deal with it, man? Because you shut everybody up, and you know that. Well,
I appreciate you. You always had my back, and I always text you that. That's why I love being a part of your show, because I know you've always fought for me. But, the hardest thing last year was just the uncertainty of not knowing and feeling like you gave everything you had to a province, to a team, and obviously it wasn't good enough. And that was the hardest thing. It was like playing injured and just trying to go out there and give everything you got. And the people that were just kind of writing me off, and I felt like I had much better football. And I know when I don't play well enough, and I know when I play well enough. And I know last year wasn't my best year, and that there was things I wanted to change and improve on. But I was going into my 3rd year as a starting quarterback. I've been in the league for 8 years, but every year I'm just learning so much more and so much more as a starting quarterback. So in terms of that, I'm still very young and inexperienced, but each game I learned so much more. But at the end of the day, going into this year, I was just blessed for a second opportunity. And I stated that in training camp was, in professional sports, it's not very often you get a second chance or a second opportunity, especially to play. In free agency, a lot of people were offering me, a veteran deal, come in, compete. If not, you'll be a veteran backup. But Coach Moss and Danny believed in me and being a franchise quarterback, and they offered me a 2-year deal like I've talked about before, and that shows an investment and a commitment to me and a belief in me. And so I spoke a little bit about this in the Grey Cup week. Going into this year, I changed my mentality of going out there and playing for the people that believed in me as opposed to the people that don't believe in me, because I exhausted myself just trying to make everybody like me. And at the end of the day, it was very hard to convert everybody into Fajardo fans. So I wanted my play on the field to do the talking, and God's plan is greater than anything I could come up with. And to stand there hoisting the cup and having my son Luca in my arms and hearing that I won the MVP, like I said, it makes those dark days, those days when you want to retire, the days when you think you should hang them up and nobody's going to want you. It makes it all worth it in the end.
It'll bother me all winter if I don't ask you this question. What caused that flip in your mind to go from the haters motivating you to your supporters motivating you? What did somebody help you with that, or did you do it on your own, or intuition?
I felt like, it was more like exactly intuition. It was something I felt like, I got off Twitter this year for the entire season. It was something I haven't done in the past. And just the amount that I was just the negative comments and the things just was weighing on me a lot. And I felt like if I could just clear my headspace, and all the people who have my telephone number, the people that text me after games, and more importantly, the people that text me after we lose football games that are proud of me, those are the people you want to go out there and play for. And there's a lot of fans that I have a lot of respect for now because they've came up to me personally, or they reached out to me personally and said, look, I was one of the people that was talking bad about you, and I just want you to know I'm proud of you and congratulations. And so those mean a lot, and it takes a lot for someone to say that they're wrong and to say it to my face. And so that's all I ever wanted, was just people to believe in me and to make this league as best as I can and to make Montreal Alouettes the best I can. And so I was happy to be standing on that stage. And there wasn't really a big, aha moment. It was just one of those things. I felt like if I wanted to get to where I wanted to go, I needed to clear my mind during the season and just focus on my inner circle and focus on the people that believe in me most.
Well, I apologize to the audience. We don't have time to get to your questions. We'll have to bring Cody back once he's got a voice and he's got more time here because he's a busy guy. But as you know, you mentioned those Rider fans. A lot wrote into me and said, can you please pass along to Cody that I love him and I always did, and I know those people did. It's important for them to know that they always had your back. I wasn't the only guy from the 306 that had your back. There's a lot of people that did, man, that love you. And I should also say, yeah, go ahead.
And that's exactly what I wanted to state and express, and I'm glad you had me on the show, was, everybody thought that the way things ended in Sask, that I have this hatred towards Sask, and that's not it at all. There's a lot of great relationships I've built over the course of the years I was in Sask, a lot of people that I'm very close with, and then hearing from all the fans. Saskatchewan Roughriders was the first team to ever give me my opportunity. So I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that organization, if it wasn't for J.O. and Dickie believing in me from the start. It's just unfortunate the way things ended, but that's professional football. And if you don't win games, obviously there's got to be changes to be made. But the amount of Sask Rider fans that reached out, it was truly overwhelming for me and my family, and the support and just hearing people reach out. I know that there's still a lot of family. Like I said, we'll forever be tied to the heartland of Sask because of our son. We've still got a lot of love in that province and the city of Regina for the Saskatchewan as a whole.
Love to hear it, and we could go on all day, but I'll let you go. I want you to look up the definition, the translation in French of repeat, because that's what's next. Not to put any pressure on you. Go enjoy this, Cody. I know you will, but that's what's next. So happy holidays. Enjoy it, man, and keep in touch.
Thanks for having me on the show. Happy holidays. And that's the standard, right? If you want to be in touch with the greatest of the time, you got to be consistent. And so we got a young team in Montreal, and I'm extremely excited to get back to work. I'm enjoying this one, but I appreciate you like always.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Football Friday continues, and for the Ontario football fans and CFL fans, you're really going to love this one. It was late in the year that Dan Giancola reached out to me via Facebook, and we'd been Facebook friends for a long time. Former Buffalo Bills and Toronto Argonauts kicker, and I believe he also played for Ottawa and I think maybe Winnipeg. But he wrote me and said, Rod, I don't know if you remember me or not. And I'm like, of course I remember you. I broadcast your games in the CFL for years. Well, what I didn't know is that he's now a best-selling author talking about his miraculous health story where he suffered the widowmaker stroke in front of his family. Most people don't live to tell the story. Dan Giancola did. So from being a Grey Cup champion and an NFLer to just lucky to be alive, Dan Giancola joined us from Toronto to share his remarkable story. CFL veteran, Grey Cup champion, and had that tryout with the Buffalo Bills in 2000. He joins us on the program today, and I could tell Dan Giancola that you're a very humble guy. You wrote me on Facebook and said, Rod, I don't know if you remember me. I'm like, Dan, I called your games for a lot of years. You know that, right? Good to see you again, brother. And now you're an author. Congratulations.
Thank you. It sounds crazy, don't it?
A little bit, but you've got a story to tell. You know what? We might as well jump right into that. The book, Be That One. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you know what, man? Initially, when I wanted to write this book, I just started writing it. And I was always told by so many people, CFL books traditionally don't sell well. And so hence why no publishers or anybody really would want to, touch the book, really, at the end of the day. I reached out to Perry Lefko, who's a very good friend of mine, and he was amazing with me over all the years of, playing in the Canadian Football League just in general, the Buffalo Bills and all that fun stuff. And I said, Perry, man, I really want to write a story about my career. So I sent them a chapter. And make a real long story short, it was about, I called the chapter The Kick That Changed My Life Forever. And it was my game-winning field goal against Hamilton as a rookie. It was my third game. And he read it. He texted me back right away. He said, dude, this is pretty awesome. I said, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I said, I was wondering if you terribly would mind editing the chapter for me. He said, you know what? I'll do that for you. But would you do me a favor? Can you send me a chapter about your heart attack? So May 20th, 2020, I had a massive heart attack here in my fitness studio. And the doctors say I should have died. I had what they call the widowmaker. And it was brutal. And they said I should have died right here in my studio. I had 100% blockage of the main artery. So I wrote about this. I sent him this chapter to him, and he said to me, Dan, I'm going to do this with you, but under one condition, that we make sure that this is not just about football. And I said, dude, 150%. I don't want this to be about football. I want to be about beating the odds on the field. He said to me, I think you might be able to go one more further. About 2 years after my heart attack, I had gotten a clean bill of health. August 17th, 2022, I was sitting right here in this office where I'm sitting right now. And I ended up with a massive stroke. It's what they call the grade 17. So to kind of put that in perspective, a level 10 stroke is permanent disability with no really chance of recovery. I had a level 17. I was here in my studio the one night. I had a great day of training my clients, doing everything here, and I sat down. It was about 8:15 at night. I was cleaning my studio. Everybody was gone. I locked my door every single night. On that night, apparently, thank God, I forgot. Excuse me. And next thing you know, the only way I could describe it, and like I did in the book, was I've never done a drug a day in my life. I can honestly say that on my own life. The only way I can describe it is if you go under an anesthetic, you're getting some form of surgery, and I've had a few of them. And the doctor says to you, I want you to count down from 10 to 1. And you get to like 9 or 8. And next thing you know, you're fading out and everything around you is becoming blurry, basically tunnel vision, and then you're out. And that's the way it was for my stroke. I just remember my right leg turned in, my right arm turned in. Little did I know I was paralyzed on my complete right side of my body. I was face down in the ground and I was trying to push myself up with my left hand. And I kept falling on my face. Finally, somehow, by the grace of God, I don't know how, I do remember getting myself almost to a seated position in my couch, and I kept falling over. And next thing you know, my buddy Dave walked in and he grabbed my face. And all I remember was his eyes, his nose, and his mouth. And he was talking to me, and I was trying to respond back to him, and I couldn't. And next thing I know, my peripheral vision, whatever I have left of it, I happened to look down to my left, and I saw 2 sets of boots, brown boots, blue pants, and the wheels what seemed to be to a gurney. Next thing you know, I wake up in the ICU in Niagara Falls, unresponsive. I remember the nurse grabbing my face, screaming my hand, and I can hear my wife and my daughter beside me, and I look to my right, and everybody was looking for me to communicate some way, somehow. I couldn't. I just kept focusing on picking up my right arm, and it just kept falling down like a rock. And I tried to move my left leg or my right leg. I couldn't move it. All I remember is the doctor saying, time is of the essence. We got to get him to Hamilton right now for surgery. At that point, apparently they administered, I believe what they call, it's either TPI or TPA, the shot that they give you, and it's apparently a high dosage of a blood thinner. When I was about 5 minutes away from Hamilton, I just remember all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my right arm shot up. Not making it about the book right now, but that's hence right here, the bottom picture. That's me with my arm up. My daughter was in the ambulance, and she happened to have the camera in her hand, and she snapped it. You got to just give me 1 second, man. because you relive this. It never goes away. And I remember the paramedic looked at me and said, hi. And I look at her and go, hi, how are you? She goes, good. What's going on? And I said, I don't know. She goes, you can move and you can talk. And she goes, do you know where you are? And just remember saying to her, ambulance? So what's your name? And I said, Dan. Do you know your last name? I didn't know my last name yet. We get into the Hamilton hospital. They wheel me in, and there was 5 doctors waiting for me. It was about 9 nurses. They wheeled me right into a CAT scan, told me not to move. At this point, though, I was moving everything, and I could understand what they were saying. I still had no idea what happened. They wheel me out. Doctor looks at me, and he says, do you know why you're here? And I said, no, doctor, sorry, I don't. He said, you had a massive stroke. So hard to understand that when for 2 years the doctors were telling you that you're okay, that your heart was good. And now I'm laying here, massive stroke. Doctor walked over to my wife and said, he had what we call, Mrs. Giancola, best case scenario. The shot was administered within 45 minutes of him having a stroke. And it doesn't always work. And for him, it did. I should be dead. I should be dead, or I should, from what they told me, I should be dead or a complete vegetable. If my buddy didn't walk in that night, I would have been brain dead within 90 minutes from the magnitude of the stroke. Somehow, some way, by the grace of God, I'm here. 150% of me with no side effects. So for years, I always took pen to paper and I started writing my book. And I was afraid because I just didn't think my story was good enough and nobody would want to buy the book. And I'm sitting here right now, and I'm still shocked that I'm on the show with you right now. I'm really honored. I'm being totally honest with you. You should don't mind my shaking, okay? It's more excitement than anything. So just understand that I'm okay.
Either or, it doesn't matter. We're the ones that are honored to have you. You should not be with us, Dan. So it's a miracle, period.
It really is.
And I have to apologize. We do have a time restraint, but let me just say in a minute, what is the genesis of your book? What's the message?
It's beating the odds on the field with no college university experience and beating the odds in life. Honestly, that's what it's all about. And it's a bestseller right now on Amazon, and I'm so honored. So, yeah. Thank you, Perry Lefko.
You've given us all a lot to think about here, Dan. A champion on and off the field and your family. Oh, gosh. Did they have quotes in the book? Are they talked to or about? Have they written portions of the book? Your daughter that took the picture?
They're all through the book. I talk about them throughout the whole entire thing. Mike Pinball Clemens, God bless him, he forwarded my book. What an amazing forward he did for me. They didn't write any quotes in the book. No, nothing like that. This is all straight from me in my heart, chasing my dream for 9 years and surviving 2 things that I shouldn't be here.
Man, Dan, well, I tell you, I love you. I'm glad that you're here. It was an honor to call your games. It's an honor to talk with you now. Be That One is the book, everybody. You're looking for a gift for the CFL fan, the football fan in your life. Go to Amazon, Dan Giancola. I kind of apologize that we have to run, Dan, but will you come back again here soon? We'll talk about book sales and all the rest.
I'm honored, man. You know what? Anytime. Not even about the book, just to be a part of it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Good to see you again, man, and congratulations on everything.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, for the final overtime of 2023. Oh, man, what a year it's been as we wind things up in the beautiful Florida studio and welcome in Darren from the beautiful Toronto studio. And I will remind you that overtime is, as always, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast, just a slap shot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. Hey, if the kids are saying, we're boring, you're all around Southern Alberta. Or if you're in Calgary for a hockey tournament, go check out, we're bored, go check out Overtime Hockey Lanes. And I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. It's going to be my first stop when I get back to Cowtown. Well, Darren, there it is. There's a wrap. We covered, today was a wonderful episode with best of interviews with Trevor Harris, Ricky Williams, Cody Fajardo, Dan Giancola. And as we look ahead to 2024, I will say this, coming out of COVID, coming out of what really was in a lot of ways for people a horrendous 2020, which is going back now a few years, I see nothing but great things ahead in 2024, sports-wise and otherwise. How about you?
I do too. I think, we're on this trajectory where everything seems to be trending up, at least in a good way, for the most part. That's good coming out of the pandemic, because we've done these shows where there's not a lot that's gone on the past year, and there's not a lot to look forward to in terms of sports on the calendar. So we are full go, and tremendously exciting to see where things are going to go in the calendar year ahead.
Not everybody can say that, though, and I will get into some NFL and CFL stuff here only because it's a Football Friday, but we got a really good friend down there in Seattle who might be watching right now, and his name is Reed Johnson from the Markcast. And when he first came onto our radar, it was during the pandemic, and he ran what was called the XFL Markcast. Now it's just the Markcast, and he's probably feeling very fortunate that it is just the Markcast, because we don't even know what the XFL is going to be here in 2024. That's my point. And listen, I am not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. It happens quite a bit, more than you'd think. And I really did think that the CFL coming out of COVID should combine with the XFL. I was soundly trounced for it by CFL purists, CFL hardcores, which I kind of consider myself too. But I mean, stronger together. The 90s CFL with the American teams was one of my fondest memories, but it didn't happen. And now here's the CFL. It looks like coming back really strong. I can't say stronger than ever. They got a long ways to go for that, but at least they've survived. And the XFL in 2024, they're talking about a merger with the USFL. They're like 100 days away from kicking off. They don't even know what teams they have. What a disaster.
It's not great. It's not great. I understand the spring leagues combining into one. That's a good thing. And I wouldn't be so quick to say you are wrong. I mean, thinking they should do something and thinking they will do something completely different. And I think thinking that they should do it, is that you're not wrong for that, and that's your opinion on it. I don't know that we said that they would do it or that it was going to happen, but you know what? The CFL does seem like it's in a better place. Yeah, I'm with you to not say better than ever or, stronger than ever, but it's in a better place than it was, and it looks to be trending up, at least from the product on the field. Last year was really good. The Grey Cup was great. And I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to. But you still got to keep working at it. There's still a lot of things financially that needs to get cleaned up. And, dealing with, some finality on the expansion talk, if that's ever going to get squashed for good. The Edmonton situation, to see what happens there. Can Saskatchewan, I know they got the coach figured out, but can they get the franchise back on track where they start making some money, putting people back in the seats, which is still an issue. But for now, I think we should be excited as to where the CFL is.
I agree. They're back to the balanced schedule where each team will play the other in their own park at least once and go to that team at least once. But I'll say this for the National Football League. Do they do anything wrong? Like, do they literally do anything wrong? I mean, with the kneelings thing, the gun thing, various things that they were backing, and they just backed away from it because they realized their ratings were going down. That's got the last controversy they were ever involved in. Now they got their London games. They got their Mexico games. Germany games. I believe they have been to Mexico. They just don't stop. They just don't stop. And I don't know what the secret is or the magic is for them. And I don't think they're telling anybody, because the other leagues would be copying it if they could.
You nailed it. They're not telling anybody. And I think the big thing is they seem to sidestep and avoid. They just stay in the pocket, right? They stay in the pocket. They have pressure this side. They move to the other side. They avoid the pressure. And they do it without telling anybody they're doing it. And that's where we, bring in the National Hockey League when it came to the Pride Tape thing. And they came out and publicly said teams are not going to be involved in any of these promotional nights or nights at all, including Pride Tape and whatever else. The NFL would never come out and say that we're not going to do things. They just quietly go over here for a bit and quietly move over here and duck and dodge and dip their way around without telling anybody they're doing it. So, that's the NFL's MO.
Sounds good. What are you getting up to for New Year's plans, Moose, as we wind this up in the last minute or so?
Yeah, we're going to celebrate with some friends and family and, reflect on the year a little bit, get a little champagne, have a couple of toasts, probably not go too crazy, but lots to be thankful for this time of year and lots to look forward to.
Oh, good for you. Love it. Thanks for all you do for us. And for us, it's been a Christmas in New Orleans. You know all of it. Last year, it was a Christmas in Virginia, drove through the Carolinas, had New Year's Eve supper in Georgia at a barbecue place, Savannah, Georgia, ended up spending the New Year's Eve night in Jacksonville. Here, we're going to drive to New Orleans from South Florida, stop and see some friends along the way, and take our time and very much enjoy the break and get ready to be back on the air, all refreshed as a daisy and ready to go in 2024. Same for you, Moose, I know. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
And to the great Rod squad out there, the Dupe Troop, thank you for tuning in. Please support our wonderful sponsors every day and well into 2024, because without them, there's no us. Be safe, everybody. See you next year. McFly, hello.